Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, TheRumpledOne, coming to you on Tuesday, December the 7th. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. Keeping it simple with Walmal. We're following with the month's theme of keeping it simple while trading. These videos are for educational purposes. Your results may differ from mine and from Walmal's. Walmal, welcome back.
Well, thank you. It's been a while, like a week or two since I've been with you, but yeah, it's keeping it simple. That's what we should all be endeavoring towards, I think, in life and in trading.
Well, as humans, we have a tendency to complicate things.
Yeah, I agree with that. It just seems that I'm older and you're older as well. Sorry if I'm calling you old, but that's okay. We know who we are. But the reality is, one of the things I've noticed through our life is that we as humans, we tend to go and take sometimes simple things and can make them very, very complex and get ourselves into trouble because of that. It's sort of like a perfect example of that is, you say, hey, you want to do a video today? And I said, sure. And he said, okay, let's go do it. And what do? I get myself into a trade, make life complicated. So I got to go and manage a trade while I'm talking to you on the phone. And I just got out of that trade. But, it's sort of like, why would I do that? Why would I make life complex and make life more difficult? It turns out that, I made a little bit of money on it. That's nice. But wouldn't life been a whole lot easier if I just said, let's just hold off to the other end of making the video and wait for another setup then? Because what do we know about the market? Every day new opportunities show up. They don't, it's not like new opportunities don't show up. They show up over and over and over again. And sometimes we will go and do things and manufacture a mess because we're making things complex, and we don't wait for the opportunity, and I think that's part of keeping simple is that we don't wait for the trade. We don't wait for the opportunity. And it's like, I got to make money today. I got to make money today. I got to prove to, whoever your significant other is or whoever significant in your life that I can go and do this and I'm going to take this trade, and it's not really the trade you're supposed to be taking. And now you've taken something that could have been simple and now you've made it complex because you should have waited for price X, and here you are taking the trade when you didn't get there yet. And then all of a sudden now you're in the trade. It falls apart on you. And sure, if you're good enough trader, you may be able, and I underline, bold, italicize, and anything else you want to say, may be able to trade your way out of that mess. Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. But wouldn't life been a lot easier if you said, get your finger off the mouse and put it aside and wait for the trade to actually fully develop and make it simple? That would be my first thing I'd say about keeping things simple. It's just that's part of everything, though, isn't it? It's part of following your trading plan. It's part of going and going and having patience. All those different parts of it make things simple. And part of that is I'm an impulsive person. TRO, you know that. Can you attest to the fact that I'm kind of impulsive?
Yeah, slightly.
And so that's my biggest thing is that I got to be very, very careful. And I got sometimes, people laugh at me, but I'll take my mouse. My desk is set up in an L-shaped type of configuration. Sometimes I'll go and take my mouse and put it on the other desk so I can't get to it. just so I can keep my life simple, because I know that I got to wait 5 minutes because of whatever method I'm using at the time. I got to wait 5 minutes before I'm allowed to trade. Take the mouse, put it someplace so I can't reach it. It's sort of like that old trick, of people who can't get up in the morning and they sleep through their alarm clock because they keep on pressing the snooze button over and over and over again. So what's the solution to that? Take your alarm clock and put it on the other end of the room. So to make the thing shut up, you gotta physically get up and walk over to it and push the button. Well, if you're up now, you're sort of like, oh, I might as well go and do what I'm supposed to do. Well, sometimes we have to go and put simple little things like that in place in terms of our trading. It may very well be, that you go and say, I'm not allowed to trade for 15 minutes. My mouse goes on the other side of the room. Well, maybe it's another simple thing is, I know you talk about this all the time and so do I, and that is, simple reminders, 3x5 index cards. I love your notes indicator. It puts it on the screen, but sometimes we can get blinded by that and not see it. Make them 3x5s. Make it simple. Put it right in front of you. And the nice thing about a 3x5 index card is you can only get 3 or 4 things on the card. You can't really fit very much more, because if you put very much more than that on it, you can't read it. It's too small. So keep it simple. If your method is so complex that you're going through, the NASA launch sequence in order to go and pull a trade off, you're always going to be late to the trade, or what you're going to do is you're going to skip steps. And each one of those things can be devastating to your trading.
Right. So, maybe you can share something that's on your 3x5 card with the traders out there.
Very simple. Look at H1. Look at M30. So I have a bias for that moment in time, and those are the 2 big things that are on my trade, and the reason why they're there is because I tend to go and forget about them and not look at them, and they can go and so simply keep you out of trouble, and so they are not only they're on the 3x5 card, but they're probably in what we'd call a 72 pitch font. In other words, 1-inch block letters, or 2.54 centimeters if you're in the metric system, but they're huge and they're written in a big Sharpie. Look at M30, look at H1.
Okay, so we've just we're 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes into the hour here. So, and I just pulled up an M30 chart, and I've got the multimeter on. So right now, M30 and H1 are red.
Mm-hmm. So right now, I'm looking short. I don't want to go long here. For me, this is not a place to go long, because I'd be going against it. Even though I'm above the higher low the lower high box, but below the midpoint between the 2 boxes. It's just, to me right now, price is in a no man's land. It's just not a place to take a trade. Now if it gets up to the 30 line, well, that could be a Walmal trade. And the nice thing about that being a Walmal trade, by that point in time, what would happen is both M30 and H1, obviously they're basically the same candles, or are the same candles. They will both be green by that point in time. So that becomes more attractive for me to go and take that trade, because I'll have that, I'll have those things going for me. Doesn't mean the trade's going to work out every time. It just means that I got a higher probability of working out. So if I got a higher probability of working out, let's go and do it.
Okay, what else is on your 3x5?
Believe it or not, that's the only 2 things I've got on it. And here, why? Because I'm trying to keep it simple. And what I tend to do, maybe this is different than some other folks, and maybe even different than you, TRO, but what I tend to put on my 3x5 are the things that I have problems with and I'm trying to correct in my trading. Okay, so that's what I keep on my 3x5. In other words, the things that I know where I make mistakes, that's what I put on my 3x5. I don't put the method on the 3x5, and the reason why I don't put the method on there is because I know what my method is. It's so simple, I don't even have to think about it. It's muscle memory. It's just like, okay, here's the trade, and the thing is, then it's sort of like, okay, now look back at the 3x5 to make sure I'm not violating the things that I screw up on all the time. So that's how I deal with it. And you may deal with it a little bit differently than me. I'm not sure, but that's how I deal with it. Just to try to keep myself out of some situations. And part of it also is that I was trading this high low and lower high boxes off the 1-minute chart. I still kind of do, but now what I do is I have the 5-minute chart up, and I don't like to go against the 5-minute candle. Why did I do it that way? So I'm kind of changing the topic, spinning off that topic a little bit, because, on my 3x5 card, I probably should have on it, make sure I'm not going against the M5 candle. Well, that's too much information on one card in one place. So what did I do? I changed my charts around where I'm only looking at a 5-minute chart, but I put my 3LZZ and my higher low and lower high boxes on the chart set up for 1 minute. So that way I'm looking at 5-minute charts, and I know that, hey, I'm not going to go short on a white candle. I'm not going to go long on a black candle. I'm going to go and follow that 5-minute candle, and it's just very, very simple. I don't have to think about it, and I think that's another part of simplicity. Maybe you can comment on that, but the whole idea of set your charts up in a way that it kind of follows your method for you, so you don't have to really think about it. You're just mechanically pulling the trigger when the conditions meet up, and you don't have to think about it. If I add whatever that is, you just have your chart set up in such a way that it just is blatantly obvious. You're not having to analyze the chart. Analyzing the chart is for before you start trading and for after you start trading. It's not while you're trading. At least that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, I think maybe you might have to define the term analyze, because people say, well, you're looking to see if your methods, if your triggers there, isn't that analyzing the chart?
And that's the thing. That's what I'm trying to go and say, and that is that if I go and set my charts up in such a way that I have a line in the sand, okay, and if I cross that line, okay, then I know that it's time to take the trade. If I don't cross the line, then I know not to take the trade. That's not analyzing. That's just, conditions are met. Analyzing is, where do I put the line in the sand? And where is this going to go to? I should have a good idea before any of that happens what I'm planning on doing. It's the type of thing, you hear me say this all the time when we're trading together. I'm only looking to get a pip or two from this. And another way of saying what I'm saying there is that I know this trade is kind of risky. I know that this trade doesn't have much upward potential, in terms of getting big pips, but what it does have is the opportunity to pick up a pip or two pretty quickly. So let's just go and, using your expression, just do a smash and grab. And that's what I'm looking to do in that situation. I've already done the analysis. I know that that's going to happen. When it's time to go and actually take the trade, I don't have to think about it. I just go and do it. You just go and execute. And the problem is, if you're analyzing right up to the point where you're pulling the trigger, you're going to be, like I said earlier in the video, you're going to be late to the trade. And if you take the trade, what's going to happen? There's a good chance, especially if it's a smash and grab. You know what? You've now gotten in right where you thought you were going to get out, and now if this doesn't go and continue, then you're going to wind up losing money. Or the other possibility is that, which is, in some ways just as bad, is that you realize that, hey, it's good in one sense, hey, I'm late to the trade, I'm not going to pull a trigger, and that's good. But then what happens is you look back at your chart and say, look at this opportunity, look at this opportunity. And next thing you know, you start beating yourself up, and that can mess with your psychology, which can be just as bad as losing money, because that can now mess up, your trades further down the line.
Right. Did you just take that short trade by any chance at the Walmal line?
No, I did not.
Because
on my charts, you're taking a trade at the 10?
No, at the 20.
No, because that's the Walmart line on my charts is actually a long, not a short.
At the 20?
Yes, sir. Because my opened up at, let me see real quick here. My open was at 26.4 for the hour.
So the short should be at 10. My should be at 20. If it
short.
Yeah.
My short should be at 10.
No, because it opened at 26. The Walmall line.
Right.
So
my short would be at 10 and my long would be at 20.
Not if it opened at 26.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the chart. Yeah, my long would have been at 30, and my short would have been at 20. You're right. I'm sorry, sir.
I was just wondering, because that would have been, right now you'd be underwater. I was just curious if you'd taken that trip. But you know what? The fastest 15 minutes of trading is up. So, boys and girls, I hope Walmal maybe gave you something that you can use. I kind of like the idea of having a set of 3x5 cards that keep you out of trouble. So when you sit down at your trading platform, always remember and never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is TheRumpledOne, over and out.